Endocrine system, as the name suggests, endocrine means it's study of hormones. Study of hormones. Now when someone will ask you what is hormones or defines hormones, remember hormones are chemical messengers. They are chemical messengers. They are chemical messengers. Chemical messengers which do its activities at far away. It is produced from one side and it acts on a distant side. Like it is the origin and then it travels through the blood and it acts on the target site, which is at a distant away. Okay, so those are called hormones, which are chemical messengers, and they control the basic homeostasis and almost the physiology of the human body. So let's first understand the master of all the endocrine gland. The master of the hormones is called pituitary gland, right? Pituitary gland. Now anatomically, where it is situated? Now if you see in the brain, so if you do the sagittal section, and take the midline, now this is the optic chiasma. Okay, this is optic chiasma. Here there is thalamus. Below the thalamus there is hypothalamus. Hypo, as the name suggests, and then there is this pituitary gland. This one round is the pituitary gland. Okay, this round is the pituitary gland. This one is the big. This one is the pituitary gland. Okay, so this one is the pituitary gland. If this is anterior, so you can see anterior, and this one is the pituitary gland. Okay, if you see where is the base, this is the base, right? So this is the front, back, and the base. You see this portion. It is the here. This is called sella turcica. It is the base of the sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone rests here, sella turcica. So in this sella turcica, the pituitary gland is found anatomically. And what else you can see? You can see the internal carotid artery and the circle of Willis. This internal carotid artery is the internal carotid artery is very, very close to this pituitary gland, which is a must because pituitary gland release the hormones. These hormones need to travel through the blood to distant organs like adrenal gland and ovaries. It has to reach far away, so it needs a good surrounding blood circulation. So internal carotid is surrounding it on the sella turcica. So sella turcica is the part where the sphenoid bone rests. Okay, so this part is the pituitary gland. So if you see here in the pituitary gland, okay, so this part is hypothalamus, and over the hypothalamus, obviously there will be this one. This is the thalamus, and this part is called, this is rest on the sella turcica, and this is called pituitary gland. If we zoom it, it will be like this, because it has two halves. One side is anterior, so this is anterior pituitary gland, and back side is the posterior pituitary gland. The interesting part is that both these glands are though is connected to hypothalamus anatomically, but there is a lot of difference physiologically. Like the anterior pituitary gland, now we know this anterior pituitary, in the top of the anterior pituitary gland, this is the thalamus. This is the thalamus. Okay, this is hypothalamus. So pituitary gland is connected to hypothalamus. Now what is the difference? This anterior pituitary gland, it is connected with blood supply. It is connected to the through blood supply to the hypothalamus. So whatever it is there, it can be travel through the blood circulation and drain into the anterior pituitary gland. Whereas the posterior pituitary gland is connected to the hypothalamus through nerve supply. Okay, through nerve. So anterior pituitary gland is connected to hypothalamus through blood supply, vascular system, and posterior pituitary gland is connected to hypothalamus through the nervous system. Though it is one gland, but if we see the embryologically this part is developed from different part, this part is coming from the different part, and after birth they just they superimpose on each other, they joined, and whatever it is we call it the pituitary gland. So this pituitary gland is at a large influence largely influenced by the hypothalamus. Okay, so the whole endocrinology is about hypothalamus and pituitary gland, because it controls pituitary gland and pituitary gland controls other glands. Okay, now let's see what are the hormones secreted by hypothalamus. So hypothalamus, whatever the hormones secret, they influence the pituitary gland. So let's see, one is called, so they mostly secrete the releasing hormones. Okay, CRH, corticotrophin, releasing hormone. Now when you say trophin means it don't act on target tissue, it act on other endocrine gland to stimulate release of hormones. So CRH, corticotrophin releasing hormone, number 1, which influence the pituitary gland. We'll discuss the functions. And then after CRH, it release growth hormone, releasing hormone. Okay, so this one is growth hormone, releasing hormone. RH for releasing hormone. So growth hormone, releasing hormone, then growth hormone, inhibiting hormone, which is also called as somatostatin. Growth hormone, inhibiting hormone, then gonadotropin, releasing hormone. So gonadotropin means it acts on gonadotropes like testis and ovary. Gonadotropin, releasing hormone. And thyroid, releasing hormone. Okay, thyroid releasing hormone. So these are the basic 5 important hormones that are released by hypothalamus. And where they act? They will act on the just nearby pituitary gland. They will act here in the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, so these are the hormones secreted by hypothalamus. Right. Now coming to the pituitary gland. What are the hormones secreted by the pituitary gland? So anterior pituitary gland have a list of 6 hormones and posterior pituitary gland have a list of 2 hormones. Then we'll go for the functions. Okay. So this is just an overview because we have to go for each and hormone in very, very detail. So what are the hormones released by anterior pituitary hormone? Very important hormone is growth hormone. So as you know, what does growth hormone do? It do the growth. It do growth of bone and cartilage. Growth hormone influence the growth of our body, influence the growth of bone and cartilage. Then what other hormone is secreted by anterior pituitary hormone? Very important, thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone. THS. Okay, so this THS will be released from the anterior pituitary gland and it will go to the thyroid gland, which is present in the neck, and then it will release the hormones T3 and T4, which we'll discuss in later class. Okay, just understand the flow chart. Now, why I am telling you, look at the hypothalamus pituitary axis. So this is called hypothalamus pituitary axis. Look at the axis here. Okay. Look at the hypothalamus pituitary axis. Means when hypothalamus secretes TRH, that is thyroid releasing hormone, then this thyroid releasing hormone will come into the anterior pituitary gland. It will stimulate the anterior pituitary gland, and this anterior pituitary gland will secrete thyroid stimulating hormone. This hormone will go into the blood supply and it will stimulate the thyroid gland, and thyroid gland will finally release T3, T4. So T3, T4, it controls our BMR, basal metabolic rate. It controls our basal metabolic rate. Okay, so it controls our basal metabolic rate. This thyroid gland, it controls how you use your carbohydrates, fats, proteins. It controls that thing. So basal metabolic rate. So this is number 1 hormone secreted by anterior pituitary gland. This is number 2 hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone. Then what are the other hormones? Number 3 hormone secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, I put it here. So number 3 hormone, it's released, the anterior pituitary gland release prolactin hormone. So this prolactin hormone typically acts on the breast, female breast, to for milk production. It's responsible for milk production. It is responsible for milk production. Number 3 hormone. What is the number 4 hormone released by anterior pituitary gland? Is adrenocorticotrophic hormone, ACTH. Adrenocorticotrophic hormone, as the name suggests, adrenal gland. Adreno, C for cortico, T for trophic hormone. So this adrenocorticotrophic hormone, it acts on the adrenal gland. Where is the adrenal gland? Adrenal gland, as the name suggests, adrenal gland, means the adrenal gland is located superiorly to the kidneys. So this hormone released by the anterior pituitary gland, it will travel to the adrenal gland and stimulate this adrenocorticotrophic hormone. As a result, this adrenocorticotrophic hormone will secrete the hormones like cortisol, which is the steroid of our body, okay, and aldosterone, if you remember, that is involved in RAS system to control the blood pressure. Okay, so that is the number 4 hormone, ACTH. ACTH, prolactin, then growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and then number 5 is, okay, right here, number 5, FSH, okay, follicular stimulating hormone, and follicular stimulating hormone, and number 6 is luteinizing hormone, LH. So number 5 and number 6 are follicular stimulating hormone, FSH and LH. Okay, let me write here. Number 5 is FSH, number 6 is LH. So these hormones, follicular stimulating hormone, when it is secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, it stimulates in females the follicle, as the name suggests, it stimulates the development of follicles. That is the ovarian follicles. Like every month in a female reproductive age group, they develop an egg, which is released for fertilization. So it responsible for ovarian development of ovarian follicles. And this luteinizing hormone, it is responsible for ovulation, that is release of egg. So we'll discuss these things in later class. This is just an overview. So in females, this FSH and LH, they stimulate the ovarian follicles and stimulate the ovulation, and as a result, they are responsible for secretion of hormones like progesterone and estrogen. Okay, progesterone and estrogen. Then what does it do in males? In males, these hormones, they are responsible for production of sperm cells. Sperm cells. Okay. So what are the hormones released by hypothalamus? That is corticotrophin hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, thyroid releasing hormone, corticotropin, gonadotropin, growth hormone releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone. Okay, these are the 5 hormones. So you can see all these hormones are related to the anterior pituitary gland hormones. Means when CRH is released, then adrenocorticotropin hormone will be released from anterior pituitary gland. Then this will act. So when growth hormone will be released, then it will directly go and stimulate the bones. We'll discuss that thing. So thyroid releasing hormone is released. It will release by the hypothalamus. It will travel to the anterior pituitary gland. Then THS will be released. It will go to the thyroid gland and stimulate the release of T3 and T4. As a result, this basal metabolic rate, the thyroid gland can do the functions. Okay. So this is the overview of endocrine system. So these are the 5 hypothalamic hormones which are controlling the pituitary gland, anterior pituitary gland. So anterior pituitary gland release 6 hormones. Number 1 is growth hormone. Number 2, THS, thyroid stimulating hormone. Number 3, prolactin. Number 4, ACTH. Number 5 and 6 are FSH and LH. Now what are the hormones released by the posterior pituitary gland? So posterior pituitary gland, number one, we already discussed during kidney chapter, that is vasopressin or ADH. Vasopressin or ADH, which helps in control of water balance, that water and salt absorption in the collecting duct. And number two, it is secretes very important hormone that is required for childbirth, for uterine contraction, is oxytocin, which is also a relationship hormone. Okay, we'll discuss that thing later. So oxytocin is responsible for contraction of the uterus during childbirth, and also milk ejection, not production. Remember, milk ejection. Milk ejection. So oxytocin has dual functions. It has also helps in milk ejection and also uterine contraction. So this is the whole endocrinology chapter, which we'll discuss one by one hormone at each time. Okay. Do you have any questions? So you have to remember these hormones, which will come in MCQ or long question also. So what are the hormones released by hypothalamus? What are the functions of hypothalamus? Or what are the hormones secreted by posterior pituitary gland? These are vasopressin and oxytocin, two hormones. Now remember this. Okay, let me make it very clear. This vasopressin and oxytocin, they are stored here. They are stored here. They are not secreted by posterior pituitary. They are not made in posterior pituitary gland. They are made in hypothalamus. Both these hormones. So made in hypothalamus, then they will travel here and they are secreted from here. But anterior pituitary gland hormones, they are made here after, with the stimulus from hormones coming of this list. Okay, so this is the basic endocrinology thing. Now we go to the number one hormone, growth hormone. Okay, so let's understand the growth hormone. So as you see, there is on the top there is a hypothalamus, then there is the anterior pituitary gland, okay, which secretes the growth hormone. Now this growth hormone, where it acts on the bones. Alright, it acts on the bones. Where in the bones? In the bones there is one plate called epiphyseal plate. You will see a gap. When you see an X-ray, you will see a gap here in the bones. This is called epiphyseal plate. Epiphyseal plate. So when we grow because this epiphyseal plate, they extend, both these plates, they extend, the gap. Because of that gap, they are extending. Because of that gap, they are extending. It's growing in length. So once this epiphyseal plate fuse means, so there is no gap here in the epiphysis. So this is the children bone, that is before puberty. You'll see the bones like this. Before puberty, you'll see the epiphysis like this. There's a gap here. And after puberty, there is no epiphyseal plate. It's fused. The gap is fused. So after puberty, nobody can grow tall. You can only grow this way. You cannot grow tall because epiphyseal plate fuse. When they fuse at the time of puberty. Okay. So adult bones looks like this in the X-ray. This is the epiphysis. Where the children's bone or before puberty, you will see the epiphyseal plate like this. Okay. So when the growth hormone is released, it stimulates this epiphyseal plate. So the bones grow. Now the question is, it affect directly on the bones? No, actually this growth hormone, when it is released from the anterior pituitary gland, it goes to the liver. It goes to the liver. So liver secretes two important mediators. Okay, liver secretes two important mediators, which looks like very similar to insulin. Now if you remember, insulin is the hormone released by pancreas gland and it controls our blood sugar. So liver secretes two important very chemical messenger, which are structurally they are similar to insulin. So we call them insulin-like growth factor number 1, insulin-like growth factor number 2, IGF-1, IGF-2. Okay, so this IGF-1 is mainly the growth is done by these chemical mediators secreted by the liver, these growth factors, not by growth hormone. But they will be produced in the liver and they will be made by the liver only when growth hormone come and stimulate the liver. So that is the flow chart. Try to understand this concept. That when the anterior pituitary gland release the growth hormone, this growth hormone will stimulate the liver, and as a result, liver will secrete IGF-1. This IGF-1 will stimulate the growth plate. It will stimulate the growth plate. Okay. So IGF-2 is basically it is necessary before the birth. So during the fetal growth is IGF-2. After born is IGF-1. Okay. So how this growth hormone is controlled? Now every hormone of the pituitary gland is controlled by hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus when secretes growth hormone releasing hormone, then only pituitary gland will secrete the growth hormone. Or when the hypothalamus secretes growth hormone inhibiting hormone or somatostatin, then there will be no growth hormone. Okay, so this is the axis. So how does it cause growth? The growth hormone affects the liver to stimulate IGF-1 in adults. As a result, it stimulates the growth or the epiphyseal plate. Now, as I told you, we have two growth spurt in our life. Okay, growth spurt when there is a rapid growth. Okay, we call it growth spurt. So there are two phases of growth spurt. So one is during infancy when there is one during infancy when there is rapid growth, sudden there is rapid growth. And second is during before puberty or during puberty. So during puberty they will see there is a rapid growth during puberty or just before puberty. There will be rapid growth because now growth is about to finish. After that one cannot grow after puberty. Okay, take this point. So one during infancy and one during puberty there is rapid secretion, lots and lots of secretion growth hormone, and it causes sudden rapid growth. So that is first is infancy. You can see in the when there is growth spurt in infants, 8-month or 9-month-old, they will sleep a lot because at that time this growth hormone is secreted a lot and a lot of cells are multiplying. Because how the growth, when the cells multiply here, there's osteoblast cells, they multiply and they produce growth. So because the cells are producing, they are multiplying, so they require a lot of energy. You can see sometimes a child or kid or a baby, they suddenly out of the blue, every day they sleep 10 hours, the next day they suddenly slept around 15, 16, 18 hours. So what is that happening? That is happening because of growth spurt. So babies or children should sleep a lot because growth hormone is basically secreted during sleep. Sleep induces. Now for you guys, I am telling you, if you sleep, there will be no growth hormone. That is only before puberty. Okay, so you don't need to sleep a lot now. When there will be sleep, it will increase the growth hormone secretion. So what are the factors that increase the growth hormone secretion? Okay, what are the factors that can increase the growth? So when there is a sleep, number one is sleep increase the growth hormones, more growth hormone, and so babies or kids, they should be encouraged for more sleeping. Okay, more sleeping because during sleep growth hormone is secreted and that is essential for their growth. Number two, any sort of starvation is also induces. Okay, it's not that you always make. Now I am not encouraging any mother to make her children starve, but if there is starvation, what happens when there is a starvation? Then there is hypoglycemia. Starvation produces hypoglycemia because blood glucose suddenly goes down, and hypoglycemia is a big stimulator of growth hormone release. Because growth hormone not only increase the growth, remember growth hormone also increase the blood sugar. They increase the blood sugar. So now I can say that these tall people are more prone to diabetic than dwarf people. Remember that. If you have more growth hormone, you will have more blood sugar. Because growth hormone, it releases lots and lots of blood sugar. Because it is an anti-insulin like function. So any sort of starvation will produce hypoglycemia, and hypoglycemia will stimulate the anterior pituitary gland to release lots and lots of growth hormone. That is one factor. So hypoglycemia. So number three. So if a child is eating lot and lot of sugary foods, sweeteners, sweet things, obviously children likes, then what will happen? If a child is eating lot of sugary things, means hyperglycemia. Remember, hyperglycemia inhibit growth hormone release. Okay, so sugar is not so good for kids if they want to grow tall. The number 4 is protein meal. More protein, more growth hormone secretion, because protein stimulates growth hormone secretion. Number 5, stress. Any sort of stress, physical stress or exercise, they always stimulate. And number 7, remember estrogen hormone. Estrogen hormone, they stimulate growth hormone. So that's now where you see during puberty in females, the estrogen level goes very high. So that's why because estrogen stimulates the growth hormone secretion. And also once the estrogen is like that, once the estrogen level goes too high, it will also cause the epiphyseal closure. So estrogen not only causes growth, it also stops the growth during puberty. Okay. Anyways, you don't need to be confused about that. So what are the factors that stimulate growth? Sleep is very important. Starvation, we don't follow this. We don't need to make the children starve. But make sure you reduce the sugary foods in the children. Hypoglycemia stimulates growth. Protein meal, stress, exercise. Yes, it is natural. Estrogen hormone influence the growth hormone. Okay, these are the factors that stimulate the growth hormone. Alright. So what are the factors now decrease the growth hormone? So decrease the growth hormone like hyperglycemia, less protein food, they all is like just the reverse of this factor, they decrease the growth hormone. So what are the main, basically growth hormone is an anabolic hormone. Remember, they not only cause growth, they increase the blood sugar and they also increase protein synthesis. They increase the protein synthesis level of the body. Okay, now what will happen if growth hormone increase or if it decrease? Now if the growth hormone is increased suddenly because of any tumor, any problem, there is increased growth hormone in the body. What will happen? We call that condition as a gigantism. And if the growth hormone is down in the body, we call it as a dwarf. Now, which one of them is more prone to diabetes? Please write it down. If you find a gigantism person or dwarf person, which one of them is more prone to diabetes? Yes, gigantism, very good. Now, the thing is that there is another disease called acromegaly. Now, acromegaly, you see sometimes people, they are not tall, but they have large fingers. They have broad fingers, broad nose, broad lips, and protruded mandible. You see those. So when the growth hormone is secreted in excess after puberty. Now I told you, if the puberty already occurred, then what will happen? Epiphyseal plate has fused. So the bone cannot grow tall now. So if after this epiphyseal plate has fused and there is sudden release of increased growth hormone in the body, there is lots of growth hormone, then what will happen? This bone will grow in this fashion. They will just become thick. They will become in this fashion. Okay. So that condition is called acromegaly. So what is the difference between, the question often comes, what is the difference between gigantism and acromegaly? So gigantism is a condition when growth hormone is secreted before puberty. Acromegaly is a condition when growth hormone is secreted after puberty. Okay. So another category of dwarfism also, there is one is that dwarf when the growth hormone is decreased. When there is sometimes due to any tumors or any pituitary gland injury, when there is a decreased growth hormone, there is the dwarf, right? But sometimes now we know that growth hormone cannot act without the contribution of IGF. So in some patients, the growth hormone level is normal, but they cannot utilize it because of defective in IGF-1. So when the growth hormone is normal and IGF-1 is defective, means they cannot now growth hormone, though it is running in the blood at a normal level, but it cannot make the bones tall or cannot make the person grow. Then that type of dwarfism is called a Laron dwarf. It comes as 1 mark question. So Laron dwarf is typically the whole tribe. It's a genetic disorder like in African pygmies. The whole tribe is dwarf because they have deficient IGF-1. Okay, the growth hormone is normal, but the liver is not making enough IGF-1. So that kind of dwarfism is called Laron dwarf.